Hello, my spiritual beauties, and welcome to the Abundant Priestess channel. I'm Anuka, and it's such a pleasure to have you here. Today, I'm going to be getting into the 5 most uncomfortable truths about tarot readings. So, I am a professional tarot reader on 4 leading psychic platforms. So, this is what I do all day long, and I have a lot of information about tarot readings, how to approach getting, the most out of your tarot reading if you're a client, and if you want to learn how to give better, more accurate, more meaningful tarot readings and you are a tarot reader, then please stick around for more content. And I hope this is a juicy video for you with some things that you don't know about tarot. So the first misconception about tarot, or the first truth that I want to reveal, is that tarot is not meant to predict the future. So a lot of people get confused about this because people think that psychics can predict the future, that we just know everything about what's going to happen, and we can predict, perfect timing for things, and we can, describe people and situations that have not yet happened. And the reason for why this is a, common misconception, from my perspective, is because the truth is that the universe is full of infinite possibilities, right? So the future is not set in stone yet. And so when we ask for predictive readings, it's at best what a tarot reader can do is predict based on the likelihood progression of the present energy. But really, tarot is best used to predict present energy and even things that have already happened. Like if we want to interpret what somebody was thinking or feeling in the past, or why something is the way that it is today based on this, based on what happened in the past and based on present energy. And then we can look a little bit into the future, but it's more like we look at, what is likely to come, or, what you can likely expect as things are, progressing from this state or as they are now. So the other thing that goes along with this misconception is that, okay, yes, you can do a little bit of predictive tarot reading, and you might get something out of it, and it may even be accurate. But there's also, this constant battle that we have between what is the truth? Is it that there is free will, or is there destiny? I always feel like there is some kind of middle way between free will and destiny, to where we are co-creating with the universe. So with the future not being set in stone yet, then it's really you can't just say that something is for sure going to happen. But there can be strong likelihoods, and there can be, even in a reading, if I'm giving a reading and I'm okay, I'm getting a mixed message about what's likely to happen, I will actually tell them that I feel this is, this could happen, or there's, a potential, there's a strong potential, there's a weak potential, whatever it is. But when people look strictly at what will happen, then I feel like it's a little bit of a dangerous realm to play with in getting a tarot reading based on the fact that you actually have influence in designing still your own destiny. So you don't ever want to think that everything is just so set in stone that we as tarot readers know exactly what's going to happen. So it kind of negates your own ownership over your life and your own free will in situations. So it is okay to ask about the future, but definitely take everything that you get for future predictions, and really everything that you get in tarot readings, with a grain of salt, because we're reading based on cards alone, but cards can be predictive. Actually, even tarot readers will read each card slightly differently. I have friends that also read tarot, and we discuss the cards, and I'm some cards I will take a completely different meaning than they would from the exact same card. So tarot readings are all just based on interpretations in the first place. So yeah, tarot is not going to predict the future. Your reader is not knowing exactly what's going to happen and when and how. Most likely, maybe you get a really good reader that is giving super accurate, consistent predictions. But yeah, so that's the first misconception. And energies are always changing. So that's the other thing too, is that even if we read something on the present energy, there could be outside influences coming into play that change the outcome of that particular situation down the road. So yeah, that's the first misconception, is that tarot readings are not meant to predict the future. And I really feel like they're super useful for, getting information about present energies especially. So the second misconception, or the second uncomfortable truth about tarot, is that psychic readings are actually psychic readings, or like, you know, we're part of what we do as readers is that we are psychoanalyzing, or we're like using, you know, psychological tools to read people. So we're actually reading people. Well, with tarot specifically, it is also like it's based on the cards. So that's why I do like tarot readings, because you know, the cards are what they are, and they will come up, and I really do trust the cards. I lean on them, especially if I don't want to take responsibility for a certain prediction. I will say that, like, okay, this is what's coming up in the cards today. However, it's not like that's the end all be all, you know. But a lot of what we do as tarot readers is that we are reading the energy of a person. So for example, I can tell like how evolved a person's mindset is as a client based on the type of question that they are asking me. So, you know, somebody could come in, and I do a lot of chat readings. So it's like, I don't actually talk to the person. I don't see them in person. We're not doing video. I'm just getting a message, and it'll say like, you know, can you tell me how so-and-so feels about me? That's a very popular one. But the like lowest level conscious questions that I'll get are usually about when something's going to happen. So if any question comes in that starts with the word when, I usually already know that that person is, first of all, they're looking for a prediction. So the type of reading that's going to feel accurate to them, or feel like the reading where they're getting the answer that they originally are looking for, or that they get the response that they're asking about, is that they're looking for a prediction. So they're asking like, when am I going to meet my soulmate? For example, that's like the lowest level. I'm sorry if you've asked that question before, but I think that's like one of the lowest level of consciousness questions that you could ask, because you're asking again for a prediction based on future, a lot of hypothetical future elements that have not even come into play yet. And you know, it's just like, what if you're not going to meet your soulmate for the next 5 years, and I tell you that it's, you know, potentially years down the line? Like, you're not going to be satisfied with that, first of all. But yeah, it just puts the reader in an awkward position, like asking when something's going to happen. You're looking for a timeline, a very specific timeline. And yeah, timelines are, you know, ambiguous, quite ambiguous. And they're also based on factors from the future that we can't like take into consideration. Everything from like, you know, unless you're like, maybe if you're like, yeah, like have a super psychedelic mindset, and you can like, we get downloads too, right? So, I mean, it's okay to ask a when question, but it's just like, it's a lower level, you know, question. I feel like there's a lot more that you can get out of a tarot reading than asking when or who is my soulmate. So the type of question that would, you know, indicate a high level of consciousness, or, you know, somebody that's willing to also be open to guidance, which I think is great if you're coming to a tarot reading for guidance on how to, you know, move and maneuver in certain situations, then yeah, a good question to ask would start with, you know, what, for example, like a question like, what can I do to increase my abundance in this lifetime? Or what can I do to manifest, you know, the house I want to buy as quickly as possible? Like, that's a good question, because then we're looking, you know, first of all, I can do a present read on what's going on presently with the situation, and then we can also be open to guidance and insights about, you know, like helpful tools, tricks, tips, that kind of thing, to getting you what you want in a faster time frame. Another good way to start a question for a tarot reading would be how. That's actually probably the highest level, would be, yeah, like, how can I manifest exactly what I'm looking for? Or how can I, you know, achieve, you know, or yeah, how can I meet the best person for me? You know, or how can I manifest a truly good relationship in my life? Then we're again going into guidance, you know, so those are just some examples of like how I would be able to tell where a person's mindset is at just from the question that they're asking alone. And then, yeah, we're using other clues. We're using clues like how confident do they feel. I personally, like I said, I always read the cards. So I'm definitely going on a number of factors. It's not just, you know, the energy that I'm getting from the person, but the tarot is really like the color that you're adding to the storyline. So even if it's a simple yes or no answer, like if a person calls in and they're like, okay, like, how does this person really feel about me? Well, it's kind of clear that they're leaving you to question things, or that there's been some mixed signals. So already it's not looking that great, but the tarot will go into specifics about, you know, what is actually happening. Like, what is the person what kinds of things are going on in that person's life, and what kind of factors are being contributed by you, what you're experiencing, that kind of thing. So but a lot of what we're doing is also psychoanalyzing people. I always laugh when people are like trying to they'll like call in for readings and they're asking, can I read without tools? And I tell them, yes, I can read without tools, but I really feel like you're going to get a more accurate read with the tarot included, at least for me personally. Some people really love to read without tools. Like if people are giving strictly psychic readings, they may not be using tarot at all, or they may be using like other types of divination tools, or clairvoyant abilities and that type of thing. But yeah, when people ask me to read without tools, I'm like, okay, so you want psychic judgments? Like, that's what I call them, really, when we're like strictly going off of the clues that we're getting from like the energy of a person. So that's another common misconception, is that oh my god, I lost my notes. Okay, I'm just gonna move on to number 3, but recap. What the heck was number 2? Oh, psychic readings are psychoanalyzing. They're actually psychic readings on people, psychological readings. Okay, moving on. So number 3 for the uncomfortable truth about tarot that I would like to reveal is that not all tarot readings are accurate. And this can be for a number of factors, but by the way, if any tarot reader tells you that they're like 100% accurate, they're probably lying, because most good tarot readers will own up to the fact that sometimes a tarot reading just doesn't go well. Sometimes it can be based on the energy that between the tarot reader and the client. Sometimes, it's just not a good connection. You're not vibing. It could be actually like the wrong moment. Sometimes the tarot reader is actually just having a bad day. Sometimes they're off their game, or they've been going through something emotional. Like I personally, if I'm having like a depression streak, or if, like my cat died or something, I will stop reading for like a whole, week if I need to take care of myself and to just, recharge and rejuvenate. Yes, money doesn't make itself. We have to work, but I really feel like it's not good to work when our energy is super low. So I really trust intuitively that, if I'm showing up for the craft, then I am ready to do it. And if I'm feeling off in any way, I will actually like sit out. Another reason for why tarot readings may not be accurate is actually the deck itself could be off. And I have found this a lot with different tarot decks that I've worked with, because I have, like 35, 40 probably different decks. And I really only usually work with like 5 of them consistently for readings that I do with clients. But every once in a while, I want to like put some life or energy into a deck, and then I'll pick it up and I'm like practicing with it or trying it out, and it just won't feel like the messages are coming through that clearly. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting like mixed vibes, or I've already tested it out on a question that I know should be accurate, or I can just feel that it wasn't accurate. So I'm like, I'm gonna set this deck aside, or I'm gonna cleanse the deck and then set it aside or work with it a little bit and see if I can bring some life into it. But otherwise, I'll be more likely to go with a deck that has already been working for me. Because of course we're wanting to give accurate readings, especially whether it's to a friend or a family member, or you're earning income with it. It's really important to give the best readings that we can possibly give. So yeah, those are a few reasons for why your tarot reading may not be accurate. I think I had one more. Well, this is more like a tip. Like most tarot readers will agree with this statement, if they're good readers, that you should always take what resonates with a reading and you leave the rest. So it's not that you just take everything for face value, because again, there could be like different interpretations of the cards, or something may be showing up and it's like you're reading it, but like you could literally be I could be like mixing up a message sometimes between like the client and their person. It's like, oh, this person's feeling detached, or feeling all of these things, and then the client is actually like, oh, I think you're reading my energy, which is really helpful. Actually, like if you're ever receiving a tarot reading and it seems like it's not going that well, please tell your tarot reader that like, okay, that doesn't resonate, or it resonates but in this way, because then the whole like interpretation of the actual cards that come up could be applied better to your situation, rather than just leaving it all up to strict guessing. But so take what resonates, leave the rest. And then also, like, if something doesn't resonate with you, then you can actually take that message for your benefit still. So say, I'm I'm like reading a person, or I'm reading a career opportunity for a person, and they're just really not feeling it, the fact that they're not feeling it and it was like a hard no, especially if it's a hard no that you're getting, you're like, ouch, like that really didn't resonate with me, then that likely means that your intuition is telling you that no, that's not correct, and this other thing or this other idea that you had is feeling more accurate. So then you can still use the hard no as a tool for accessing your own deeper sense of intuition and really getting clarity on the original question that you came with. So moving on to number 4. So the fourth uncomfortable truth about tarot is that getting too many readings can be toxic. So this will be news for anybody who's not a tarot reader, but we have obsessive clients. We have clients that come to us, and maybe you actually are one of the obsessive clients, then, this is a message for you that you might want to, slow down on getting the readings, and I will explain why. But yeah, we will have a lot of clients that come for readings every single day on the same exact topic, or they'll have the same exact question about the same exact person. One regular one that would that comes in is like, can we check into this person's energy? How are they feeling towards me today? Like that can be helpful even on a daily basis. Maybe it's helpful. I still feel like it's a little excessive to get daily readings on the same exact topic, because it's like, okay, like you're kind of like exploiting the energies here. Spirit actually probably wants you to be focusing on other things other than this specific obsessed topic that you're on. But yeah, like it can actually interfere also with the natural progression of things. So if you're reading every single day on somebody, then you're definitely like in head trips about it. Like you're in obsessive, anxious energy, and it can actually breed like toxicity. It can actually mess with your own, destiny and the natural progression of things, that you're not supposed to know every single thing about every, thing, especially when you're not tuning into your own guidance. Because if you're like looking to the cards, or you're looking to a reader to give you the answers for everyday topics, like you can't make a decision without your tarot reader, that's too much, then you're relying more on things that are coming, even if they're intuitive means of exploring, an answer to your question, but you're looking outside of yourself constantly, and you're avoiding actually developing your own intuition. Or even if you have, like, everybody has intuitive feelings, and especially if you're getting tarot readings often, you're probably an intuitive person, but you're ignoring, or you're not really trusting your own intuition and acting on that. So you're still seeking outside of yourself. And as we all know, if we're familiar with meditation and about psychic things and intuition, right? It's all coming from inside of us as opposed to outside of us. So the things that we use as tools, as methods and techniques, are really meant to enhance our own intuitive experience. But at the end of the day, we should really be training our own intuition to make the moves as best intuitively, as best as we know. Our inner knowing is our connection with true source energy, and everything else is like ways of hopefully connecting more deeply with source energy. The other thing that I want to expose on this topic of getting too many readings and it can be toxic is that tarot is really not to be meant to be taken so seriously. I feel like, first of all, everything that you ever get in a reading you should take with a grain of salt, because again, especially if it's related to future predictions, or if you're going to base your decisions on these readings, then you still want to be tuning in intuitively. You still want to like rest on it, sleep on it before making a major decision. But tarot readings really are meant for entertainment purposes, and even life, itself. If you are a reader, if you're a spiritual person, or if you're really attuned with things, then you probably realize that life is one big game. We're playing social games, we're playing games with, people, we're playing games with our own mind when we're trying to trick ourselves into believing certain things and, affirming stuff that is actually not likely or out of the realm of normal possibilities, which we do in manifestation. So yeah, I mean, like, life is a game. Even tarot can be considered in a way game-like, and can be used for entertainment purposes. But like, don't take it too seriously. Don't get tarot readings and like whatever messages that you're getting in them confused with divine reality, right? Like, there's still a lot of influence that you have in future outcomes, for example. We already went over that. But tarot is used for entertainment purposes. So I say go into every reading that you have with fun, lighthearted mindset about the information that you're going to be receiving. And if it is a really serious topic, then yeah, just like approach it with a serious mindset, but definitely always leave room for the fact that something may shift in the outcome that you are getting or in the message that you receive from tarot. Sometimes you get a message in tarot and then like weeks later or months later or years down the line, it clicks for you and you're like, oh, that's what that reading meant. That's what that message meant. So yeah, don't hang on too strongly and seriously as if it's the end all be all to every last word and message that you received at tarot. Okay. So the fifth uncomfortable truth about tarot, and this isn't really an uncomfortable truth, but it's definitely something that you might be surprised about, again, if you're not a tarot reader yourself, but love is the number one question on people's minds. Like, I would say that love and relationships are like the most the most read topic for sure. It's something I would say around, at least in my experience, something around like 85-90%, and that's shy of the real number. I feel like it's more close to like 95% of my readings that I do are based on love. And specifically of that like 90 or 95%, it might even be like 85% or 90% about unrequited love. So the uncomfortable truth part of this point is really that a lot of what I do as a tarot reader, especially for online, because like who is actually getting readings online except people that have already like exhausted topics again and again on their own, and then they're like finally like, okay, I just got to get a reading on this. But a lot of it is reading for unrequited love. So I joke, but it's not really funny, but it is kind of, if you're like a tarot reader professionally. But it's like, to be a good tarot reader, you have to learn 15 different ways to say he's just not that into you, or they or she is just not that into you. Sorry, boo-boo. And then hopefully there's some, guidance that follows, or there's some self-love work to do, or hopefully there's some helpful information that, can help you to process this unrequited love situation. But yeah, a lot of people are reading about love, and I do think it's helpful, by the way, to get readings. Like, don't think that if you have a love question, it specifically means that it's an unrequited love situation. But a lot of people have trouble navigating relationships, or they have trouble like making assumptions about what their person is thinking or feeling, especially if you're in a relationship, you're living with that person, you think you know them so well, but really they have a whole world of consciousness going on inside of them. They still have dreams, and they still have desires and fantasies that you cannot likely know about. And then or they have tendencies that are really hard for you to be aware of, because we tend to think of people thinking in ways that we think. Like, we have, I forget what the word is, it's like ethnocentrism or something, or I'm probably butchering the term, but it's like the idea that other people are thinking in the way that we think, or culturally, that like other cultures are operating in the same way that we would, or that like love somehow overrides all of that. It's like, no, a person from like a culture that's really traditional, for example, that really cares about what their family thinks, is probably not going to choose a person that their family would not be approving of. And sorry, but the uncomfortable truth about that is that like race and religion and things like that do come into play. And people, especially men, because I do read a lot, primarily more for women than men, although I do read for men, but a lot of men really care about what their like families and society will think about their choices within love too. So like women, for example, we think that guys are just like letting love, or letting like the best sex of their life or whatever, like overrule what they feel like is a good choice for their future wife and the mother of their children, and it's just not the reality of things. So that's just one example, but yeah, love is definitely the number one topic on people's minds. It's the one motivating factor in everything that a person does. Think of like a mother who has children, like her love for her children is the most strong influence that she'll ever have in her life. If she's a good mother, right, she will love her children, and love is the thing that will drive her and move her, and it will cause her to move mountains, and to seek clarity. So yeah, I wanted to share that love is the number one topic. So it's just something that a lot of people don't really realize. I do, by the way, get a lot of questions about life path, career, about some people want to connect with their loved ones who have passed, you know, and some people want to connect with their animals. A lot of people are curious about finances, and you know, there's a lot of different topics that people can read on, but I would say the number one thing is definitely love and relationships. So yeah, those are my 5 points for you know, uncomfortable truths or things that you may not know about tarot readings. And I hope that was helpful. Please comment on anything that really resonated with you, especially if you're a reader. I'm curious to know what other situations that you're facing. And if you are wanting to learn tarot, definitely please continue to follow my content, because I just started doing the informational stuff. I used to do tarot scopes, tarot readings, but I've recently shifted because that was never the point of the channel. I just kind of used that to, like, you know, to do something fun and gain my original followers. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of content on tarot readings, how to be an accurate and good tarot reader, how to read people, and the nitty-gritty details about what it is to you know, be working as a psychic. And by the way, I love what I do so much, so anything that I'm complaining about, you know, I bitch a lot, or I just love to, like, you know, nag on things, on certain things, and the, you know, idiosyncrasies of people and stuff. But I really do love what I do, and I love my clients dearly, and I always wish the best for everybody. And yeah, so please like and subscribe and comment, and I will see you in the next video.